Hey everybody. Just give me a minute here. We'll get started in just a moment. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Let's see what we got. All right, we're gonna move from this spot. Let me know if you guys can hear us. There's a garbage truck that just pulled up and the stench is so horrible. Man, that's crazy how strong that stench is. Right outside 432 Park too. Anyway, let's see what we got. Here on beautiful Park Avenue. It's actually quite nice out. It's only 68 degrees. And it really feels like fall because there's not a lot of humidity. Even though I do like it hot and humid, it does kind of feel nice out. Feel as if the city is much more busy today. Here we're looking at 425 Park. This is the temporary headquarters of Citadel until they could build their super tall right here on Park Avenue. Now, it's interesting because we're going to be in Miami this weekend, and we have some news from South Florida as it relates to Citadel. The official renderings for Ken Griffin's mega tall tower in Brickell is officially out. So check it out. If you're interested in architecture, if that's one of the things that interests you, if that's what you like, it's an unbelievable piece of engineering. The brand new Citadel Securities Tower that's going to be right on Brickell Avenue. It's going to be massive, absolutely huge. And they're almost done with 270 Park. So anyway, I guess we can go ahead and kick this thing off. So good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Walks on Wall Street. Today is Thursday, September 5th, 2024, and it's about 9:27 p.m. Eastern Time. And tomorrow's Friday. It's already the end of the week. We're going to do a little bit of a different route tonight. We're starting kind of on time, fashionably late. I want to venture a little bit further into the Upper East Side tonight. Very, very seldom do we have an opportunity to go to the Upper East Side. And before the really cold weather hits, I'm going to try to get to the Upper East Side. I'm going to try to get to Lower Manhattan as much as I can, because usually in the winter we tend to hibernate towards Midtown. So while the weather is good and everything is beautiful in Manhattan, I'm going to try to get you guys to as many places as possible. Now, one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight is the upcoming FOMC meeting. A good resource that I always like to reference is the CME Watch tool, or more specifically, the CME Fed Watch tool. So if you want to follow along, you can type !CME in the chat, and it's going to drop the link to the CBOE's website. Essentially, it's the Fed futures tool that predicts the likelihood and the probabilities of an interest rate cut at each specific FOMC meeting. Now, there was a big move today. There's about a 43% likelihood. It's probably going to be about a 50-50 chance that we're going to have a rate cut at the next meeting. So pretty interesting stuff. We got a lot of jobs data, jobs numbers coming out rather weak. Layoffs are coming in higher than expected. I have an interesting take on that. I'm more interested to hear what you guys have to say on all the layoffs for the month of August. So we'll talk about that tonight. But without further ado, let me say hello to everybody in the chat, and we'll get started walking around the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and then we'll head over to the Upper West Side. So thanks for joining, everybody. Let me actually turn the brightness up a little bit so I can see. I see Mary is here, Brolic Cavs, what is going on? Alan, Shannon, Rolando, Combat Jones is here, Fuba, Positive Princess, thanks for joining us. Cheers to you. Tatted Tees, this is 105 degrees in Southern California right now. Wow, that's hot. Billy, Daryl, the LT Prod, Cole, good to see you. Brad is here. Out of curiosity, let's see how much it costs per month to park here. So just to park your car in Manhattan, it's going to be about $739 a month. If you have a monthly exotic, it's an additional charge of $925. Really, am I reading that right? To extra charge of $925. That's crazy. So $739, $925. You're paying $1,600 to park your vehicle there if you have a luxury or an exotic car. That's insane. Think about that. That's some people probably in the audience, you know, depending on which state you live in across the country, $1,600 a month is a mortgage, or at least back in the day, right? People would pay $1,600 a month, and they would be able to have a house and afford to feed a family in Manhattan. If you have a nice SUV like a Range Rover, you're able to park it. Really strange times, I guess. Anyway, Sarah's here. What's up? Richard Vogel. Welcome, welcome. This is Lexington Avenue now, everybody, and 57th Street. And we're going to head a little bit further uptown. Now, the building that you're looking at right now, this is Bloomberg's headquarters. Very cool building, one of my favorite buildings in the entire city. And that's where we're going to go tonight. We're going to check out the main valet at Bloomberg. And maybe we'll get to see some of the Bloomberg terminals there. Ivan Hernandez, what's up? Fahim, yeah, that is rent in some places. New England Crypto, good to see you. Brolic Cavs, Tom, the stream brings value to my nights. I'm very appreciative of the channel. I'm appreciative of it too. It's pretty fun. We get to meet and chat around with a lot of cool people. Now, obviously, for those of you who are wondering why we didn't have a broadcast for about 2 weeks, I was in Asia. I was in South Korea. I was going to go to Singapore, but I had to extend my trip, so I was there for about 2 weeks, a little over 12 days. And it was a great trip. It was a great country. We kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday. And I think there's some major blockchain, cryptocurrency / Bitcoin conference that's going on in Seoul, Korea right now. I think one of the major analysts at Wedbush, Dan Ives, is there covering some stuff. I wish I would have been able to stay for that, but I had to come back stateside. Now, one of the things I'm noticing in the city, just a random thought since I've come back, the city's actually done a pretty nice job with paving some of the main avenues here. This is Lexington. This used to be a horror show, and now it is all brand new asphalt, and it looks really, really good. Super smooth, doesn't look dirty, looks pretty clean. They probably have to come back and stripe the lines though. But you can see all the way down pretty much to Grand Central Station and the spire of the Chrysler Building, which is pretty cool. All right, let's go to Bloomberg. Hey, Joe E., what's up? Good to see you. Joseph Hardaway. Kev says, why didn't I go live in Korea? I had a packed schedule every day. I was up very, very early, 7 o'clock in the morning pretty much every day, and I was in bed at maybe like 1 o'clock at night every single day. So I didn't have time to do anything, but it was a good trip nonetheless. Good trip nonetheless. Yeah, Coles is cleaner than LA. I'd like to go to LA. That's definitely on the bucket list. Now, I think everyone has probably seen the headline about all of these layoffs and hiring being much, I should say, not much, extremely weaker than normal. I have an interesting take on this, and I'd like to know your thoughts. But generally, particularly in an election cycle, right? And we're all but 2 months away from the presidential election, which is crazy to even think about. Now it's September, we have October, and then November. We're going to be electing a new president of the United States of America. So businesses take caution because they don't know what's going to happen. This is very, very volatile times. So businesses prepare, especially so during the election year. So the last thing you want to do, and we're now looking at the Bloomberg's major valet here, but the last thing you want to do as a business is to overhire, right? If anything, if you can go into the election, raise capital, be conservative, even if you're going in with a skeleton crew, and then you have a favorable outcome in the election, depending on if you want current Vice President Kamala Harris to win, or if you want the former President Donald Trump to win, then you could adjust your planning accordingly, and you could just always rehire some people. But it's very difficult, and it's very hard to, use those layoffs. So from a business planning perspective, I don't think this is all that much abnormal. Is the economy slowing? Yes, but we're coming off extreme hyper growth, and that is normal in a business cycle. For the economy to slow, for the fat, so to speak, to get trimmed, and I think this cycle is being a little bit exacerbated by the election, which is totally normal and totally fine. So are these numbers cause for concern? I think so, but I don't think they're as much cause for concern as the media is making it out to be. That's my subtle take on it. I'd love to know what you guys think, but I just like to put myself in the shoes of a CEO. If I was running a big business, right, if I was running a big Fortune 500 company, and I'm doing my yearly planning, I'm talking to all of my advisors, I'm talking to all my VPs and, business managers, CPAs, accountants, I would want to come in lean and mean into an election cycle, and depending on who wins, right, depending on who I view as favorable, then, you can kind of turn the engine back on and put things in place. But the last thing that an executive class would want to do is make a big decision before an event that is unknown, such as the election cycle, right? So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. Ivan Hernandez, happy birthday to you. Hopefully you enjoy your day. Hey, William Foley, what's up? Alex77. This high cost of labor is causing inflation. The LT Project Beige Book said many employers are being very picky and still having no problem filling positions. The main guy, what's up? Good to see you. And I do feel as if there's a little bit of the people who left the workforce during the pandemic, maybe they had some savings, maybe they started their own business. They're very reluctant to enter the workforce, right? Because working for yourself, even if you're making significantly less money, if you can kind of float the boat and you can still do it, I feel as if people would want to still do it and work on their own. But those cash balances are dwindling, so that is pushing more people back into the workforce. This is now 3rd Avenue and East 60th Street. This is the 59th Street Lexington Avenue subway station. You get the NQ, R, and W trains right here. The further we go to the Upper East Side, the quieter it's gonna get. Really beautiful tonight. Brolic cabs, as I've had a few co-workers that were laid off recently as well. What industry, if you don't mind us asking? I think that's very key. I know there's been a lot of layoffs in the auto, like manufacturing sector. Hey, CW, what's going on? This is Tom. Have you had any good stock trades lately? A few. Hopefully we have many more. Always would welcome more. That's for sure. We highlighted a few in the newsletter we sent out. This is Patsy's Pizza. This place is very good. The only thing about that spot is you really got to eat it there because this pizza is so thin it gets so cold you can't even really take it out. But this place is very good. Love this place. New England Crypto says I missed the Sutton Place. Well, we're pretty close to Sutton Place tonight. Pretty close. Emma Montana, this is our money safe in a savings account? I would hope so. I mean, if you have under 250 grand in there, I mean, even if the bank goes bust, you're gonna get your money back because it's insured with the FDIC. So long as you have that amount in each account, you'll get your money back. And this conversation came up in a major way during the Silicon Valley bank collapse. I'm not sure if anyone remembers that. It seems like it was just yesterday. But many market participants were, I don't really want to use the term lobbying, but it almost seemed like it. They're saying the FDIC has to raise the limit of $250,000. I don't know if I agree with that or not. Because in a way, when you have a low limit, obviously it was said a long time ago, $250,000 back then was a huge amount of money. It's still a big amount of money now, but in comparison, not at all. But if you raise, my only concern about raising the limit on the FDIC insurance is that in a way, it could almost kind of backfire. Because you need prudent risk management in everything that you do. And if there's just a safety net that could potentially give the wrong signal to these big banks that they could take on too much risk, but I don't know, that's kind of my 2 cents. I think prudent, you kind of have to let the free market work, because in turn the free market will put the appropriate incentives in place to hopefully prevent bank failures and bank collapses. Right? You could even argue that in 2008, the financial crisis was almost caused by the government. Obviously, the direct cause, right, was toxic mortgage-backed securities, not vetting appropriately, subprime loans. I mean, some people, they didn't even have credit checks or income verification to get a home loan, but specific government policies actually exacerbated that. Hey, Professor Dario, what's going on? NBA Elias. Hey, Tom, hope you had a good day. I had a very good day today. I'm happy to be back in New York. It's really starting to feel like fall. Right as we turn the corner here, you're going to see this really cool townhome. It's like a totally redeveloped and redesigned townhouse. And look at that. Beautiful shot of 432 Park. Hey, crypto memes, as I do money market, no savings for me. They have to hold your money dollar for dollar in a money market. Yeah, and you also have the liquidity too, right? If you're managing money. Oh, yikes. I mean, if you have a brokerage account, and let's say if you just recently liquidated a position or something like that, you could just roll it into a money market. And, you know, some money markets you're probably getting like 5%, close to 5%. Depending if you're an institutional client, you could probably even get maybe 5.5% on your money, which is pretty good. That's like really, really good. Speaking of interest rates and getting 5% at the bank, coming up next week is the FOMC meeting, where speculation has it that we may get a rate cut. Now, if you want to look at the real-time live probabilities, if you type !CME in the chat, it'll bring you to the Fed Watch tool. So there's about a 50% probability or likelihood of an interest rate cut. This way would take us a little bit further into Sutton Place. Since we're right here, we might as well. We'll check it out. Michael G says CDs aren't bad either. About 5%. Yeah, it just depends on if you want access to that money. CDs usually have a lockup. You usually have to put it there for a certain amount of time, which is fine. But if you're actively managing a portfolio, I think maybe just a money market is the best. Or here's another option. You could just go to Treasury Direct, which is essentially the US Treasury's website, and you could just buy T-bills there if you want. This is the on-ramp to the 59th Street Bridge. We might as well check out Sutton Place since we're right here. Michael G says thank you and welcome back. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for joining us tonight. Now, you know what I was watching? Tesla had a very productive day today, a very, very good day. And I think that stock bottomed in April. It's going to be very interesting to watch that stock over the next coming months. Because usually when you have cooperation between extreme negative sentiment, which we've had, even some of Elon Musk's top investors and supporters has really started to turn on Tesla over the past 2 quarters with improving fundamentals. That's when you could have some real big movements in stock prices. So it'll be interesting to see. The big question is, you know, if we get a recession, are people going to want to buy cars? Well, assuming interest rates do come down, it's my personal opinion that that will cause a pickup in activity. Because I do believe that there's a significant amount of demand built up of people who want to buy homes, people who want to buy cars, but the interest rate on those loans are just so high that it puts the deal underwater. It doesn't really make sense for them to do it right now. I mean, there's probably millions of Americans across the country that are in the market for a new vehicle right now, or in the market for a new house, but they can't justify the expense because the interest rate is too high for them. So we'll see. Hey, Zozo Bob, what's up? Says recession talk again, question mark. Zozo Bob, I have a question for you. What is going on with the St. Regis Towers in Sunny Isles Beach? So the last time I walked past the construction site for the St. Regis was probably about a little bit over a month ago. I'm going to be there again I'm going to be there again this weekend, but it doesn't appear like they've broken ground on that yet. Are you following that at all? I'm seeing a lot of progress, a lot of progress on the Waldorf Astoria across the street from Bayside Marketplace. NBA Alliance's Tom, what did you see in South Korea from real estate that you would like to see here? From real estate that I would like to see here? I don't know. I actually think some of the structures in terms of like the buying structure in South Korea is a little bit wonky. It's very weird. And also the renting structure is very weird. They work on very big deposits. So from my understanding, if you want to rent a place in South Korea, a common way to do it is pay 12 months, like the whole entire lease up front as a deposit, and then you get your money back at the end of the lease. But not a lot of people have the money to drop 12 months worth of rent up front. So oftentimes they're getting help from their parents and things like that. There's three distinct ways, three distinct buying structures from my understanding in South Korea if you want to buy like a residential property. But I think I would like to buy something there. Maybe not in the city of Seoul. Maybe in a smaller city where you can commute, let's say maybe about an hour on the subway into the city, Suwon or something like that. A lot of the apartments there, or at least the apartment complexes that I was in, they're very modern, very modern apartments. They're much different than a lot of the stuff we see here in the US. It's a very cool layout. Zozo Bob's Tom St. Regis just got Related Group. Got a $527 million construction loan this week. So if you go, I'm not sure when the last time you drove past the site, but it looks like they're clearing and it looks like they did some soil testing. So on the website it says completion date 2027. I don't know if that's going to go up in a few years. Hopefully it will. I'm really excited about that project. Sunny Isles Beach, for those of you who are not familiar, once Bentley goes up and the two St. Regis towers goes up on Sunny Isles Beach, the skyline is going to look unbelievable. It's going to look like a crazy skyline, which I'm pretty excited about. Okay, everyone. Here we are. This is East 57th Street and Sutton Place. This is one of my favorite neighborhoods in New York City. It's a very old neighborhood. It's a very quiet neighborhood. And it's known for a lot of the opulence and the wealth, old wealth, in New York City. But an interesting thing is that over the years, Sutton Place has actually fallen out of fashion. So the big stereotype in New York City is that Sutton Place, if you live in Sutton Place, you must be extremely wealthy, and that's still the case. However, if you do a comparative analysis in terms of price per square foot, particularly, well, I should say more specifically, with a lot of these co-ops here, you could actually get some pretty good deals, because what has been very, I should say, a hot commodity in the New York City real estate market is these newer condominiums with a lot of the amenities, the luxury amenities like the pools, the spas, the gyms. You're really not going to get that in a co-op. These are older buildings, but they're quite charming, and I like the neighborhood because it's quite quiet. And you have this very unique view of the 59th Street Bridge. Really nice townhomes too. It's beautiful over here. I don't know, but generally speaking, now that we're on the topic of real estate, I still think the market is quite frozen. Not a lot of deals are getting done at all. If you look at home loan mortgage originations, continues to fall off a cliff. Mortgage demand continues to be at all-time record lows. Things just aren't getting done. And from my perspective, and again, I really want to know your perspective, at least some of the people that I'm working with, they want to sell their homes, but they don't necessarily need to for a few reasons. Number one, a lot of the people here, yes, they have low interest rates, right? If they have a mortgage on the house, they probably are paying 3% money, which is pretty much free money. But also a lot of people have a ton of equity and their homes are paid off. So the theory, the verbiage here is that they don't really need to drop the price to sell it to someone, right? So, if you're taking like a real estate course in college, right? Generally speaking, there's an inverse correlation between interest rates and the valuation of the asset. And prices have come down some. I'm not saying prices haven't come down. Prices have definitely come down. But sellers are still reluctant to give buyers these discounted prices because there's really no motivation, there's no catalyst for them to sell. Yeah, it'd be nice for them to sell, right? It'd be nice for them to sell. But they really don't need to create an event of liquidity if they're gonna lose, 10 to 15% of the valuation on their home. So they'll just keep it. They'll just rent it out or they'll just let it sit vacant. This is the 59th Street Bridge here. Really, really stunning view. And this is Sutton Place Park. So you actually look down at the park here. It's gorgeous. That's what I'm saying. Like, look at some of these townhouses, everybody. You have your private driveway, gated, full security. You have a view overlooking the East River and the 59th Street Bridge. And you could actually get some really good deals here, trading at very, very steep discounts. The downside is the following. It is quite far from the subway, and you do feel a little bit detached from the city. But to me, that's kind of a blessing, in a way, right? If you're working in Midtown Manhattan all day, amongst the tourists, amongst all the workers, the hustle and bustle, 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk, however long it took us, you could come home and hang out here, have some privacy. I mean, look at these townhomes here. It's unbelievable. I will warn you, in the winter it is very, very cold here. Extremely cold. Now they've resurfaced all of these. The facades are brand new. It looks like they're gut renovations on the inside. Looks really nice. Chris Tompkins says all the super value real estate is sitting forever in LA, San Francisco, and New York City. I follow this guy on Twitter who lives in San Francisco, more broadly the Bay Area. And that is the one market. And I'm not from San Francisco, I'm not from California, so I don't really have the expertise here. Maybe somebody in the audience is from Cali, is from San Francisco, and you could, chime in the chat. But I'm seeing some product move there at fire sale price. If you look at some of the condos around like the main downtown area there at San Francisco, what is it, Market Street? I'm not super familiar. But things are moving at 25, sometimes 30% discounts. People are just dumping them. And I think one of the reasons for that is these are probably very wealthy tech people that have made ungodly amounts of money being in the Valley. They've bought the place and they just want to get out of Silicon Valley. They just want to get out of San Francisco. Maybe they want to move to Texas, or maybe they want to move to a different part of California, right? Maybe they want to move to, San Diego, somewhere where it's a little bit cleaner and safer. Maybe they want to move to LA. I don't know. So they're willing to take, a $350,000, $500,000 loss just to move somewhere else. You don't really see that here in New York City. Yes, the crime is kind of ticked up. Yes, it's true. but it's not San Francisco type crime. I mean, we don't have like smash and grab crimes like that. I mean, if you park your car on the street in New York, it's going to be fine. You're not going to have a problem. So, Chris Tompkins says, you're right. Shannon says rent has gotten a bit cheaper in San Francisco too. Well, that's really good news for a lot of young kids who want to go to San Francisco now and take advantage of some of the cheap rents or cheap real estate. Matthew says, or it could be the crime. I think that's definitely a factor. I mean, if you've made all this money in San Francisco, Silicon Valley, that area generally, and you just don't want to put up with it anymore. Maybe you move your family to, Northern California. Maybe you move them to San Diego. Have a nicer place. You'll fire sale the place. Write it off on your taxes. But things are moving there, which is quite interesting because I think that's a buy. And whenever we bring up this topic, it kind of gets politically charged. But the reason why I'm still bullish San Francisco is the jobs really haven't left, right? You see on the news that all these jobs are leaving the state of California, they're leaving San Francisco. That's not entirely true. The startup culture and the venture culture is actually quite healthy. I have a lot of friends who work in tech there, a lot of VC friends, and still the number one location in the United States for VC check writing is still San Francisco. So you have the talent, you have the intellectual capital there. You just have what the market is assigning a fixed variable, which is all the crime and all the craziness. But I really think that'll change, or at least I'm hoping that'll change. There was a tweet, an X post, that the current governor of California, Gavin Newsom, like him or not, he did put out a post and said, look, we've wasted enough money on trying to fix this homeless problem. The funds are being wasted, and Gavin Newsom's putting his foot down. I think it's corruption. I think he's just trying to placate so he can make a presidential run the next election. But hey, at least, I'll take what we can get. But what he's saying is correct. California has more money than God. They're one of the largest economies in the entire world. That's what people tend to forget, right? The state of California is one of the largest economies in the entire world. There's unlimited money there to solve the homeless crisis. The problem is the bureaucracies and government agencies that have been created to solve the homeless crisis has actually created a false incentivization structure to actually incentivize the perpetuation of homelessness. Because these people are making $100,000 salaries, a director's making $300,000 salary to oversee all of these people to distribute these funds. Well, if you solve the problem, you just essentially fired yourself. So I think a lot of that's got to get cleaned up. All right, guys, this is the new East River Park. This thing is amazing. This thing is awesome. So just for some context, we came all the way from 57th Street, Sutton Place. We walked all the way down, and this is the main entrance. And it's a pretty clear night, so you're able to see a lot of nice views, crazy views. Look at how cool this is. We're now walking right over the highway. So we're going to be able to see Long Island City, Queens, and a little bit of the Williamsburg Bridge too. So we're quite literally now suspended over the East River. What do you guys think? This is a pretty unique place. If you're visiting New York City, definitely try to visit before the winter, because this place is going to be uninhabitable in the winter. It's going to be too cold. But in the spring, summer, and in the fall, this place is awesome. It's pretty cool. Hey, 10 Red Bluffs is yes, Tom, same in Los Angeles. It's called the Homeless Industrial Complex. Yeah, that's the thing. Money sometimes makes problems worse. And that's why I think I've mentioned this before on the broadcast, that, you know, whenever some big billionaire buys like a jet or like a yacht, for example, I believe Jeff Bezos just took ownership recently of his new like $55 million or $85 million jet, and people are like, that's, you know, we shouldn't allow them to buy all these expensive things because that could have easily solved the homeless crisis. That could have ended all the hunger problems in the United States. I see where you're coming from, but it's not true. Money doesn't solve any problems. Money is just a tool. The only thing that will solve the problem is if money is in good stewardship, right? If you give an idiot $1 trillion, they're just gonna do malpractice with the $1 trillion. They're not gonna do anything. You have to have competence, money in the hands of competent individuals. So money alone doesn't solve anything. It actually can make things much worse. Just look at San Francisco, look at LA. They have more money than God. They have more money than anybody. All right, this is really beautiful here. You're looking at the World Trade Center. You're looking at the United Nations. But if you look really, really closely, you'll see these two big blue beams shining all the way up to the sky. Those are actually the 9/11 floodlights. It's crazy. September 11th, the anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks, is going to be next week. So they always have these 9/11 floodlights here. And we could see it all the way from up here. Looks really cool. NBA Elias, California has spent $20 billion on the homeless problem. I can't even fathom that number. It's insane. And there's more homeless there now than ever before. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy. What do you guys think of the views here from the East River? We have the Trade Center centered perfectly in between the buildings. Let me zoom in on downtown Brooklyn. This is going to be pretty cool to show you guys. So this skyline right here, from here to here, is downtown Brooklyn. You can see that big Brooklyn Tower there. And you can see the Williamsburg Bridge. And now you see all of Long Island City. It's really stunning here. It's awesome. And then turning around, you have 59th Street Bridge again here. Now I think this is taxpayer money well spent. Public parks, everyone can utilize it and enjoy it. It's pretty cool. Hey JC, what's going on? Bitcoin's getting hammered. I'm about to reach into some of my dry powder. Stack away some sats pretty soon. Hopefully we get some sort of major shake. Maybe like an election catalyst or something. Now I will give, so since it's the election, we usually don't talk politics, but I will say one thing. As an event-driven trade, like an event-driven theme, assuming that Kamala Harris wins, on election night, you'll probably see a flash crash in Bitcoin. I mean, if she wins, you could probably see Bitcoin maybe peel off. You'll probably see like a maybe $5,000 to $10,000 candle on Bitcoin. I think that would be the best buy ever in the world. But it's going to be really, really tough to do it because you're going to think the world is ending in crypto, but it's not. So as an event-driven trade, like a fun event-driven trade, I think if she wins, you'll just probably have it'll be like a $10,000 red bar. Not financial advice. I don't tell anybody what to do, but that's a buy. You would just sit on the bid on that all night. Look at how nice they made this. Let's sit down on the bench here for a minute. Hey, what's up? Western Mass Dave. Good to see you. Richard Vogel says, is this where the floating pool will be? So this is not where the floating pool is going to be. The floating pool is going to be over here. We actually can't see it from where we are, but it's on the other side near Pier 5. And I think I've taken you guys to Pier 5 before. Hey, Kaka Silva, thank you so much for the 100. I think that's Norwegian krona, right? Thank you so much for your support. Appreciate you very much. JC says, from my understanding, Harris now also accepts BTC donations. Saw something like that on Twitter. I think that's correct as well. But the overall market perception is that the Harris administration would not be as pro Bitcoin or cryptocurrency as Trump. I don't think it matters either way, to be honest. That's just all temporary market gyrations. But those are like the big event-driven stuff that could be pretty interesting. So we'll see. Because here's what a lot of people that aren't true Bitcoiners, they don't realize. Bitcoin it has nothing to do with the United States. It's borderless, right? We always talk about it's permissionless money. It's unconfiscatable money, but it's also borderless too. I don't think anybody's ever said that. I think that's something that I came up with, maybe. But it is true. It is borderless money. It doesn't, like, there's no jurisdiction, really. It's impossible. Now, what's fascinating to me is that these apartments, and I think these are co-ops, quite literally sit right above the highway. Do you think that they feel any like gyrations or anything? They must feel something. Let's head back. I can't go all the way up there tonight. Hey, Joy, good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight. As we walk through the Sutton Place neighborhood in New York City. You can see the Altice Tower here. Let's head back into Midtown. One more look at the beautiful 59th Street Bridge. Learn. This is the new East River Greenway. What's pretty exciting is this. The Borough of Manhattan president put out a video where his goal is to have this greenway wrap all the way around the island of Manhattan without any stoppage. And I think they're probably going to do it too. I mean, how crazy awesome would that be? To be able to get on the greenway, which is what we're on right now, suspended over the East River, for those of you who are curious, and be able to go from where we are, which is 54th Street, all the way around, right down by the UN, which is this building, wrap all the way around by the Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, come all the way up the West Side Highway. That would be insane. But for now, we have a few gaps. The biggest gap is actually right here. This is the end of the road here. Scott says that would be awesome for the New York City Marathon. It would. That would be interesting if they could incorporate the Greenway into the marathon. I just don't know if the openings would be big enough. I don't know if it'd be safe. Hey, Brad's Brain says, good evening, kids. Once again, welcome back, Tom. Just popping in halftime of the Chiefs game. Ah, that's right. It's football season now officially. Oh, speaking of football, we just had about maybe a 20-minute conversation about San Francisco real estate. From my understanding, there was a quarterback, I think a star player. What's the football team in San Francisco that was assaulted or shot over the weekend? Does anybody have an update on that? I'm assuming he survived. Well, I know he survived, but I mean, that's scary as hell. I think he was at a book signing or an autograph signing or something, and he was wearing a fancy luxury watch. At least that's what the article said. And some teenager tried to rob his watch, and when he resisted, the kid shot him in the chest, I believe. It's crazy. Yes, NBA Elias says he was a rookie walking to the promo event, or walking to his car from a promotional event. Hey, Jonathan from Florida, good to see you. Roberts says he's out of the hospital. Well, I'm assuming he's not going to be playing football this year. Hopefully his contract had a guarantee so he could keep all of his money, because who can predict that you get shot in the chest as a professional athlete? It's ridiculous. Doc Sevens says Blackstone is bullish on San Francisco. Yes, Steve Schwartzman is pretty bullish on San Francisco. I'm very bullish on San Francisco too. Wow, Wad Banks, he's out about 5 weeks. 5 weeks is not a lot. You would think if you get shot in the chest, you're out for more than 5 weeks. But God bless him. God bless him for sure. Wow. NBA Elias, the bullet went through his back, so there was no internal organ damage. See, things like that are just, you got lucky. Totally lucky on that. Thank God. That's one thing about the US that's just the gun violence here is just too crazy. It's just nuts. And we had that school shooting 2 days ago or yesterday. It makes you think, like, if you have young kids, do you really want to be sending them to an elementary school? Do you really want to be sending them to school? I understand that, most people don't have a choice, right? You have to send your kids to public school because that's almost their form of daycare. But I wouldn't consider myself super old. But all of this nonsense really started happening, I would say, my senior year of high school, when we started to have these active shooter drills. Never had it throughout my entire elementary school, middle school, but senior year we had it. I don't know. I think if I had a young kid nowadays, I don't think I would send him to public school. It's just too much. Hey, Jay is here. Hey, Tom, so happy to see you back in New York. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be back too. We're checking out Sutton Place if you're just tuning in. Someone says, what I do, homeschooling? I don't know. Something to that effect. Or maybe I would do like hyper specialization. Like let the kid pick one thing that they really want to specialize in. If it's like engineering, and then try to hire or find someone who's an expert in that field and just hammer on that. Like if the kid's really, really good at math and really, really enjoys it, then maybe 4 hours a day, something like that, you're just studying to be a math wizard. And then the rest of the time you're, working, maybe doing community service stuff, helping out in the community. I feel like that's gonna give you a little bit more well-rounded. Maybe travel internationally, live there, study a different language, become a little bit more worldly. I understand not everyone has that ability, but I don't know what happened to public education in the US. I feel as if it's just it's out of control. It's out of control. It wasn't that out of control when I went to high school, but it got very disorganized. Like people would just walk out of the school, they would leave. Teachers really didn't care. Maybe that's just the high school I went to, but now with all the add in the violence, it's like it's not even worth it anymore. Yeah, Gary, I agree. It's just part of going to school is the socialization process of it. Absolutely. That's why I'm almost against the private schools and the big boarding schools. Like if you work in finance in the city, chances are your higher ups, the managing directors, all send their kids to these boarding schools, all boys schools, upstate New York, Connecticut. But those are just all ultra wealthy people. That's not gonna really give your kid a good experience of what the real world is actually like. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. I guess you could call it sheltering. Maybe that's the term. I think it's good for kids to interact with people of all different socioeconomic statuses to develop a sense of empathy and also realism. I mean, when I went to college, there was some wealthy people, but mainly my brother's school, there was a lot of wealthy people, and I lived with them, and they were sometimes oblivious just to like normal, not necessarily struggles, but like, no, I can't go to Nobu tonight. They're like, well, what do you mean? Why? Well, I don't have money. I don't have any money to go blow $200 on a dinner. And they're like, what? Huh? What do you mean? Your parents don't, where's the credit card your parents gave you to go to college? Where's the what? They just don't have a concept. So I agree with that. Go for Hokies. Hockeys. This coffee shop is very good. It's like a chain. There's multiple locations throughout the city. This is one of my favorites. One of my new favorites. It's called Birch Coffee. They have a location right in the new Moynihan train hall. This place is very good. If you're in the city, check it out. Very good coffee. Very good cold brew. For any of the cold brew drinkers here. Oh, look at this. It's a candy truck. Interesting. It's pretty good business. Francis's Panther Coffee from Wynwood opened a location in Soho. Francis, you're right, and I didn't get a chance to check it out. Maybe I'll go there tomorrow. I'll have to take a screenshot of this chat and go there. Panther Coffee's pretty good. Pretty good. However, the best coffee I've had in Miami is this small little bakery called Cachito Coffee and Bakery in Little Buenos Aires. If you take a trip to Miami, go to 72nd Street. It's Little Buenos Aires, and you're gonna have some of the best coffee and pastries you ever had in your life. Guys, this is 885 3rd Avenue, also known as the Lipstick Building. I believe I've taken you guys here before. Now, the reason why this building has significance, at least to me anyway, is this is where Bernie Madoff ran his Ponzi scheme. Right inside this building. Now, it's been remodeled, but if you know the story of Bernie Madoff, his office was right here. 855 3rd Avenue, right on the corner of East 54th Street. All right, let's cross here. NBA Elias says, did I try kimchi in South Korea? I have. I've had it before, but it was pretty good. Everything I ate in South Korea was awesome. Hey, Mike G. What's up, Mike? Thank you for the warm welcome back. It's good to be back. Shannon says, how about soju? I don't drink alcohol, but that is one thing I've noticed too. Koreans do drink a lot. And they go out and party very, very late at night. Pretty much every day. I think I got to the hotel to check in very late. It must have been midnight, 1 a.m. And I was in the Gangnam district. I believe that's how you pronounce it. If you Google Park Hyatt Seoul, that's where I stayed. If you want to kind of see the restaurants, the shops, there's that COEX Center right across the street. It's pretty cool. Everything was under construction because they're doing some major renovations, but all the restaurants were packed. The bars were packed too, with just working people. Still that late at night. Richard Vogel says, how long was the flight? It's about 15.5-hour flight from JFK to Incheon Airport. But from Incheon to JFK, it's about 13. I think it's 2 hours extra going there because of the jet stream. Danny says, did I visit Japan? Unfortunately not. But Japan, I think Tokyo is only about an hour and a half away. And from my understanding, if you like Korea, South Korea, you'd love Tokyo. This is Sutton Tower. What do you guys think? Or excuse me, this isn't Sutton Tower. This is the Celine. This is right next to my favorite office building in the city. I know, Zozo Bob says I couldn't be on a plane for 15 hours. I thought the same thing too, but you almost kind of hallucinate after a little bit, and the time kind of flies. The way back is no issue. The way back is no problem at all. But the first time you do a Trek 12-hour plus flight, it's really, really tough. But once you do it once, your body gets used to it. Danny says, which city is more crowded in your opinion, Seoul or New York City? I'd say Seoul 100%. Now maybe it's just perception. However, Korea is a really small country. And I'm not sure the exact population of Seoul. What is it, 8 million? Maybe someone could Google that. But I think the combination of everyone just being jammed into such a small space and all of the cities surrounding Seoul, like Suwon, Osan, everyone kind of commutes in an hour, 2 hours to work every day. So Seoul really fills up. During rush hour, if you take the subway, depending on what station you're at, it's literally like you're slamming in sardines. It's crazy. So maybe it felt more crowded. I don't know what the actual data shows. Let's check the parking here. All right, $375 Park Avenue, a monthly rate for your vehicle. A regular car, if you want to just park your car here for the month, is going to be $1,012.72. If you want your dedicated monthly space, which means it's not going to be valet, you park in your dedicated space, it's going to be $1,436. Crazy. Limousine or luxury vehicle is $2,111. And if you have a supercar, a van, SUV, 4x4, it's an additional $337 on top of the $1,000. It's crazy. And if you want to park your bicycle, it's going to be $100. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Could you imagine paying upwards of $2,500 a month just to park your car? It's wild, guys. That's why when some people pay $135,000 to $250,000 to buy their parking space, it doesn't really seem that crazy, because if you just rent a parking space, if you want a good one near a garage where it's right in your building, you're going to pay $1,000. But if you buy your space, you write a check for $135,000, and then when you don't need it anymore, you could just sell it to somebody else. Spencer says, Tom, have you sold any parking spaces recently? Yes. I've been selling so many parking spaces that it's been surprising to me. It's unbelievable. Parking spaces are such a hot commodity, and the sale is a very easy sale because I'm just on the phone at the desk. Mostly, the spaces that I've been selling are in Brooklyn, like big package deals, because private equity will come in, right? They'll buy out all of these garage operators, like the ones we've been walking around passing in the city today. Let's say if it's a big valet company. If it's an older building, chances are that business has been in the family for generations. When it comes time to do the estate sale, most times the kids in the family don't want the business, so they'll liquidate, they'll sell it. Either a boutique private equity shop or a big private equity player will buy it, and most times they don't want to run the valet business because it's very capital intensive, it's very labor intensive. So what they'll do is they'll rezone it, and they'll make each individual space a condominium. So now you get a deed, right? You can actually sell this as an individual deeded condo space and have your exit like that. And then once you're a certain amount sold, it creates a condo board, and the private equity firm or whoever buys it kind of wipes their hands with the deal. And they've been flying. In Brooklyn, right around $135,000. In Manhattan, $165,000 to $200,000. Speaking of Blackstone, here they are right here, and they have all this scaffolding going up. This is like some big, heavy industrial scaffolding too. Hey, Richard Vogel says, how is the weather in South Korea? It was very humid. I would even argue that it felt more humid than being in Miami. Because Miami, you can kind of cool down by going to the beach, there's a breeze. But in Korea, it is very, very just stale humidity. Check out 432 Park. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We usually do these streams usually every day, starting at 8:45. Head back over to 5th Avenue. We're walking on the northernmost side of the New York Palace, which is a really nice hotel. Now, this used to be Black Rock, I think. But Black Rock now moved to 50 Hudson Yards. So I don't know if this building is totally vacant or whatnot, but a lot of the big businesses here in New York have been moving out of these older Class B and Class C office towers, and they've been moving into the new product, which just so happens to be Hudson Yards. 50 Hudson Yards is their new headquarters. It's an amazing, amazing office. This is now Madison. We're right behind St. Patrick's Cathedral. Quinn says, can we go by Trump Tower? We were there, we started the stream there, but there's so much traffic and so many barricades now around the Trump Tower because Barron Trump is going to NYU, and he commutes from NYU every night, or every day. So you have Secret Service, you have Department of Homeland Security, you have everybody there. You also have sanitation vehicles all lined up on 5th Avenue.
It's made to order someplace, so I can take pictures of yourself and put it in my custom system.
All right, next avenue is 5th Avenue. We're going to pass by Olympic Tower. You can even see a little bit of the Radio City Music Hall. I've been hearing of a lot of problems with the board, the condo board here at 641 5th, or the Olympic Tower. A lot of issues going on in the building right now. But it does have good views of Midtown because it's built right in front of St. Patrick's, which means the views will always be protected because there's obviously not going to be anything built at St. Patrick's Cathedral. It'll always be there. Kathleen said, did you visit the DMZ in Korea? I didn't get a chance to go there, but I went to Osan Air Base. So the largest US, I think it's the largest Air Force base in the Pacific, or one of them. And that was awesome. Very, very cool. Now, Osan Air Base is actually not in Osan. It's maybe like a few miles. I think it's about a few miles to the north. But it's really nice. Really, really nice place. This is Saks Fifth Avenue. Pretty soon we're going to be walking, seeing all the holiday decorations.
Spot on.
Looks like they're putting up new designs. Maybe this is for the fall. Very cool. Since we got the light, let's bang a right here. We'll head a little bit further in. Hey, the investigator, what's going on? Long time no see. Always a pleasure. Trust you've been well. I can kind of smell the fall in the air in New York. I could feel it. I'm not looking forward to it because just the winters are brutal. Kind of sucks walking around in the freezing cold. I feel like summer was too short. It just flew by. Amy T says, what did I miss about New York when I was gone? I honestly didn't miss New York at all. I was only there for 2 weeks. It was, like I said last night, I think the biggest relief is it's so safe there that after 2 days of being there, you start to realize like how on guard you are all the time, like having situational awareness. And you realize that you don't need any situational awareness. Because when someone walks around the corner and you look at them, it's like, oh, it's a normal guy. When people are transferring in between the subway cars It's not some crazy person that's going to make a ridiculous outburst on the train. It's just normal people. So I think over everything, that was the most beneficial. Because you didn't have to worry about anything. Not having to worry. I'm not saying I worry when I'm here. I don't worry at all when I'm here. But it's just like a sense of, I don't know, like normal situational awareness that you don't need there. And rumor is that it's the same thing, is kind of like the same thing in Dubai, UAE. You know, you could leave your laptop, leave your phone on a coffee shop table, go to the bathroom, and it'll be there when you come back. Like there's no theft, so no one's gonna take your stuff. So that's kind of cool, that aspect. Which I'm definitely not used to. I think more simply put, people trust each other over there. And I feel as if in the United States, or particularly in New York, nobody trusts anyone here. And for good reason, right? It's a big city. Wow, look at the line for Adele's. That's wild. Damn, that is a crazy, crazy line. You know, sometimes it goes all the way down to the end of the block. Still a crazy line. This is 3 hours. Nah, actually this is a 2-hour line. It only goes to the second post. So it's a long time to wait for food, 2 hours. That's how good the food is. I just can't eat that stuff anymore. Speaking of food, I'm actually going to try something I've never tried before. I'm going to try incorporating fasting into every month. Never tried it before. I've never done it, but I was talking to a buddy who does these 48-hour fasts once a month. And he says it's very, very good. So I think I'm going to give it a try. I've never done it before. Anyone's done it before? Thoughts? Feedback? Apparently it's very, very good for energy levels. Once you get past hour 24, a full day, yeah, Doc 7. Spencer says you fast. Professor says visit diet review page at Harvard. I'll check it out. Diet review page at Harvard. Tom from Midtown says the best thing about fasting is it makes you really appreciate food when you don't have it. That's an interesting perspective, and it makes sense. They always say you appreciate something once you don't have it. Wow. Gourds is 48-hour fasting. I did that 3 years ago, but it wasn't voluntary. I lost 50 pounds and never felt better. Yeah, I'm not trying to lose weight, so to speak, but just incorporate something different. Steven Snow says, how many times a day do you eat? Well, I'll say this. Living in New York City, when I'm here in the city, it's very difficult to stick to a routine where I'm eating like actual meals at specific times, if that makes sense. Just because things are so crazy here. You're always out and about. But when I'm in Miami, I'm in like top shape. I don't know what it is. Things are just more structured there. And by the way, having a house, like I know, people will say what they want, but I think, if for anyone in the audience who maybe owns their home or owns their apartment or whatnot, maybe you have a duplex, you live on one side, you rent out the other, whatever it is, for whatever reason, you really, really feel a sense of peace and rest when you're in your own home. I don't know what it is. And that's actually helped me a lot, surprisingly, in business. Like when you go home to your home, you don't have to move stuff around. It's just, you don't have to think about it in the back of your head. Am I going to renew this lease? I'm going to have to argue with the landlord, It's no, my stuff is there. That's it. It may sound weird, but for me, it's true. Check out this view of the Empire State Building. Really nice. Hopefully they never build a building that blocks this view. This is one of the best views of the Empire State Building. Oh yeah, someone says everything is breaking, all I do is worry about repairs. That's actually very true. I haven't had anything big break, but just tenants break stuff all the time. So believe it or not, I have a separate bank account. I have like a little high yield savings account. And every portion of the rent, every time I get a rent check, I put a portion of it in that little account because I know they're gonna break something. Which is just, that's just normal wear and tear. Surprisingly, the most that I've had to repair in the house are doors and doorknobs. I've gone through 2-bedroom doors and over 3 doorknobs from these people locking themselves out of the rooms, holes in the doors. And that adds up quick. You know, a few $100 here, a few $100 there. It's a lot of money, adds up. Yeah, Richard Vogel says some tenants suck. Honestly, my tenants have been, I have no complaints. If everything's in one piece, if it's not like a big deal, I'm not nitpicky about it at all. A doorknob from Home Depot, $30, $50, it's not the end of the world, whatever. Hey, Sabrina Fair, what's up? Hope you're doing well. I think you said you were in Israel, right? Or was that somebody else? Zozo Bob says, don't I take it out of the security deposit? I don't, because I do all bookings through Airbnb. I think it's a lot safer. It costs more money, but the tenants are higher quality. So if somebody's looking to, you know, if you have a small portfolio like I do, if you're looking to rent your place out, just do 30-day minimums on Airbnb. And you'll get long-term tenants that, you know, will stay 4 or 5 months, and all of the payments get processed through Airbnb, and Airbnb does all of the verification, and they give you all the insurance. So it's very, very safe. Obviously you pay more money for it because it comes out of the check-in fees, but I think it's worth it because you get to see the ratings of the tenants, right? If you just sign a 12-month lease, you have to do all that diligence yourself, and a lot of people lie, you get a lot of sketchy people, but with Airbnb, if they have a bad experience, nobody's gonna accept them to be a guest. So it's been pretty good. It costs me more money, but I'm willing to pay more money for that service. Look at this line for Joe's. Crazy line. I don't get it. I don't understand why people wait in that line for Joe's. I mean, it's decent pizza, but I don't know if I'd wait 30 minutes to an hour for it. Way too long for Joe's Pizza. Zozo Bob says Airbnb doesn't require security deposits. No, it's upfront payments. So you get paid upfront. That's another thing I like about it. So you get paid before they check in, which is great. Hey, what's up, Clarence Jackson? So speaking of pizza, have you ever had New Haven, Connecticut pizza? I think it's the best. I haven't had it, but I heard about it. Many people have been saying that pizza from Connecticut is better than pizza from New York. I don't doubt it. I just never get up to Connecticut. I think the last time I've been to Connecticut was in college. I went to Western Connecticut State, I think it was called. We played a soccer game there. Jeff Baker's is Chicago pizza. I think I missed my window for the year to go to Chicago. It's gonna get too cold there. Once it starts snowing, that's when I have to migrate down to Florida. Spread my wings and fly. Nobody's here, says you should go to Chicago. I want to. I think I've just missed my window for the year. Maybe 2025. We'll make our way to the Windy City. I think the best pizza, though, in New York is not in the city. It's on Long Island, Nassau County. There's this really good spot in this town called Melville. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with it, but it's a town on Long Island. It was La Focaccia. It's a great spot. That's the best pizza I've ever had. Right there on, I should say, off of North Service Road. Everything in Miami. I was just in Chinatown today. Had lunch there. Chinatown is fantastic. Here we have the Empire State Building, which looks pretty cool tonight. Someone says there's a spot out here called Gino's in Long Island. Is that in Long Beach? Gino's Pizza by the train station? Power 20? Or am I thinking about something else? There's also another good spot in Long Beach. Francesca's, I think. Or Francesco's. I forget. It's one of those two. That's another place that's really nice in the summer, but it's pretty much uninhabitable in the winter. Power 20 is in Garden City, but Long Beach does have good pizza. I've been to Garden City in a while. Last time I've been to Garden City, I was on the campus of Adelphi University. Garden City's pretty nice. That's very expensive there. A lot of the homes in Garden City are beautiful, but they're multi-million-dollar homes. Really, really nice town. If anyone's ever been to the Hamptons, there's this pizza spot called Paul's Pizza. It's pretty good. It's decent. I used to go there quite a lot as a kid. It's right in the town of Southampton, across the street from that park. I feel like they need to do something with this strip mall here. I think someone should buy this whole block out with the T-Mobile, the 7-Eleven, the Hollister, Old Navy. And they should demolish the whole thing and make kind of like an inside Deutsche Bank center, the shops at Deutsche Bank, Time Warner Center. I feel as if it's just wasted real estate. It's too low to the ground, it's old, looks very dated. Maybe someone will buy this out. I don't know who owns it or if they're individual owners, but if this whole thing gets redeveloped, I mean, that would totally revolutionize this neighborhood. Because on the other side of 34th Street, this side, it's a little seedy sometimes at night. But if you have all brand new, kind of like the Deutsche Bank Center, Hudson Yards, that'd be really nice. They have a whole Crocs store. I think Crocs stock has actually been doing pretty well. I haven't been following it in a long time, but all right, everyone, we're back at Penn. Just right on time. So I got to be up very, very early tomorrow. So I think we'll cut the stream out here. Wow, Clarence, congrats. Your kid started kindergarten. That's awesome. Well, best of luck with that. Hopefully it's a good time and all will be a success. But until then, guys, I will see you tomorrow because I got to get up early tomorrow. Got to get up very, very early, and it appears to be some traffic here at the Penn 2 project. Lots of traffic. So until tomorrow, we'll see you later. Thanks so much for joining us. And hopefully we'll be live from Tribeca. And we'll walk down by the World Trade Center, BMCC, Stone Street. We'll try to do a lot of stuff tomorrow night. So Unij 23, Clarence, Mary, Joseph Hardaway, Jay, all of our moderators. Thanks so much. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.